Hi art family, it's Dena Tollefson. I'm so glad that you're here today and it's going to be a great topic. Today I will share 6 tips with you on how you can earn money licensing your artwork. So did you know that manufacturers will pay you royalties if you let them use your artwork images? I'm going to show you how to do that today. Art licensing is the idea of taking, now you have your original art, which might be a painting, a drawing, something like that. Taking a photo of that and then licensing that to manufacturers who will put your images on their merchandise, and then you get royalties for that. So it is a way that you can earn income by having, you can of course sell your original artwork through galleries or to individual people, but you can also again and again and again to different retailers, different manufacturers, you can sell those images of your paintings, your drawings, whatever it is that you're making, and then you can, long after that original piece of artwork has been sold, you can be making money from the images that you took with a camera and that you are licensing, the digital image that you are licensing to manufacturers. And this art licensing topic, it's very exciting. So I am right now unboxing a puzzle from Whimsy Wood Puzzles, and they licensed my artwork. This is my koi pond painting, and I'm right now opening the box and taking a little smell of it. It smells really good. They have these high quality heirloom level puzzles. These are done on wood, and they are just beautiful. The puzzles themselves are wonderful, and I'm very excited to be affiliated with this company. And they are located out of Phoenix, Arizona. And what I want to do here is share with you the tips of how you can get your artwork licensed. I'll be giving you 6 tips, and then also sharing with you lists of companies who do art licensing. So if you haven't already seen I did a little bit over an hour, I don't know, maybe it was an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, something like that, a live stream on some details on how to do art licensing. If you haven't already seen that, I encourage you to watch that either before you watch this video or after you watch this video, either one. But let's get into the tips. So the first tip is that you're going to want to get 10 to 12 colorful pieces ready to be photographed. So when we talk about colorful pieces, oftentimes manufacturers like things that have color. There are some manufacturers that will do black and white, or will want to license low chroma work, but most companies are looking for bright and colorful work. So you'll want 10 to 12 pieces, and then you're going to want these to have either a theme or be related somehow through color or through look. Have 10 to 12, say, options for them to pick from. Okay, so the second tip to get your art licensed is to be active on social media. A lot of licensing deals happen there. So I found a lot of the licensing, the deals that I'm licensing with, I have found through Instagram. Since you are in social media now, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the companies that license with you are going to want you to be active on social media to show their products and use. They also typically will pick artists that are active on social media. Ideally, you have your own website, and ideally you have your own social media following. You don't have to have these things, but they do help. So my third tip for you in getting into art licensing would be to seek companies who share your worldview and align with your aesthetic. So what we mean by that would be, let's say that you do grunge art, or you do some art that has some edge to it. Look for companies that have that kind of aesthetic as well. I know, like, my work is very colorful and joyful and cheerful, that type of thing. So I try and look at companies that are going to match with my aesthetic. And then you also want to think too, when you're looking for a company that's going to manufacture your images and then give you a royalty for that, you want to be thinking about aligning yourself with a company that you also like what that company stands for. So be thinking about that before you seek out a certain company. Or if a company reaches out to you, which will happen, think about if you like what that company stands for. So the next tip here is all about camera equipment. And this is a very, very important aspect. This is probably one of the most important things here, is the quality of the photographs, the digital images that you're going to be taking for art licensing. I am using a Nikon D850 DSLR. If you're looking to see the exact camera I have, I'll have a link for that down in the description box. But you need to have your images need to be at least 15 megabit if you're going to be working with manufacturers. The camera that I'm using can take, depending on what size you're using, they can be 20, 40, 60 megabit JPEG photos. So one thing that you can do, an idea, is if you don't have a fancy DSLR camera, you can, so like for example my iPhone does not take a high enough resolution photo for licensing companies, and that can be an issue for people. Is if you don't have a DSLR, what you can do is find another art friend who has a DSLR and find a way to barter or trade with them, or you could pay them. If you have a photographer friend who has a DSLR camera, you could work with them, work something out, or you could hire a photographer. So one way would be to work out something, a friend you could borrow their camera for a while, another artist friend. You might be able to hire a photographer, or you can or actually just purchase a DSLR. Well, let's say that you don't want to go and get a fancy camera and you just want to get a few things made, and you want to go in and not have to be vetted by a company. Well, there are two companies that I'm aware of, Redbubble and Zazzle, that have, and I've got links here for you for those. You can have a smaller size file. You can use a file that you took, for example, with your iPhone or with your smartphone. They can be file sizes, like 1 meg up to 10 meg or so. It can take a file that size, and you don't have to get special permission from those companies to work with them. But they're great companies. I have worked with Zazzle before. I have my photo, I have greeting cards and that I hand out to people, to customers, and then I've also done business cards with them and postcards with them. So and I know a lot of people have used Redbubble before and also really like it. So there are companies like that where you don't have to get special permission from the company to work with them. The disadvantage of doing like a Zazzle or a Redbubble, something like that, you're going to be one of thousands of artists that they're working with. When you work with individual manufacturers, they might just have a handful of artists, and so your opportunity for royalties can be much higher when you're working with these other manufacturers. So it's I encourage you to just get out and give it a try. So my fifth tip is to start contacting companies who do art licensing. And so I have a list here of lots of companies that do art licensing, and I will also put a link to all of those companies in the description of this video, and then you can just click on the link if you're interested in looking at some of these companies. I describe these companies in great detail in the other video that I did, and I'll have a link to that video also in the description. So if you look, these companies, you can get, companies will license, do art licensing in so many different ways. They will, companies might want to do t-shirts, to do prints, puzzles, coffee mugs, phone cases, tennis shoes, sweatshirts, you name it, bedding. I have a I have a new licensing deal with AJ Wallpaper, and they do bedding and wallpaper. They're out of Australia. But if you look at these companies, what they're looking for is they're looking for artwork that will excite their customers and make their customers want to purchase the product that they make with your artwork on it. So these art licensing, it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to earn supplemental income. Some artists earn their income only from art licensing. For me, I have a part of my strategy is with the art licensing, I want to drive sales to my originals. So with the idea that that if my artwork is also on puzzles and art prints and bedding and different things like that, that will also drive sales for my original artwork. And now my last tip for you here is to not to ever give up. So it can get frustrating when you reach out to a company and then you feel like you haven't heard back from them, or you might feel like, hey, I've been doing this and I'm frustrated because I'm not getting the response that I want, that kind of thing. Just keep at it. Sometimes these deals might take months before it actually materializes. So my advice to you is to just have fun with it and to give it a go. And be sure, if you haven't already, to watch the Art Licensing 101 video that I created. It's a little bit over an hour long, packed full of information for you on how to get started in your art licensing career. So until next time, this is Dena Tollefson, and all my best to you. Bye-bye.